I've been a patient here at Adelante for going on 8 or 9 years now. What I was missing before I came to Adelante in my healthcare, my primary care doctors, was sometimes I felt more like a number. And they didn't have the real personal attention to me and seemed to really genuinely care. And had kind of two primary care doctors in the beginning, Dr. Sanchez and Dr. Gill. They showed personalized care. They had an interest in me and seemed like the well-being. And they took their time with me. That was something that was, that I appreciated so much, never rushed.
And the most important thing is the history. Like, yes, laying hands on a patient is important, but letting a patient talk is really what helps you understand what is their priority and what their needs are. And so it's just so essential to just sit there and listen for the first part of a visit. And unfortunately, you know, with all the rushing and hustling and bustling of the day, a lot of people don't have that skill to just sit and listen. But even if you can do that for 30 seconds, you know, like 30 seconds or a minute, there's just so much you can gather and learn about that patient. So much trust that can be built in that 30 seconds. So.
I was actually taking care of my father. He had dementia, so I was kind of at home all the time. I was doing DoorDash in the evenings for extra income, supplemental income. Anyway, I left my house, and within a quarter mile of there, on a kind of main residential road, it's only 25-mile-an-hour speed limit, I was coming up to a roundabout that's just supposed to slow people down. Well, there was a drunk driver coming from the opposite direction. I set down my Red Bull getting ready for the night, looked up real quick, and there was a car in the air. Hit me head on at 65 miles an hour. So at that point, obviously I went to emergency room, and they released me after like 2 days because the swelling in my foot was so bad that they couldn't do any surgeries or anything with it. So they sent me home. And after they sent me home, I started, ultimately at the end, we know that I got an infection, and sepsis ultimately, I think, is what it was, because I went into Never Never Land, kind of. My wife said I just got bizarre behavior within, like I said, 3 days. And so she rushed me down here and saw Dr. Sanchez, my primary care, one of them at the time. And the fact that they knew me very well, they could tell I was off my rocker. I was messed up, in distress. She sent me immediately to the emergency room again.
You know, when you have somebody that walks in off the street that you don't really know, it's impossible to know what is their baseline medical status, what is their normal, what is their day-to-day. You know, we may have medical records that we can try to read and decipher, but that doesn't really tell us about their mental status and their personality and their communication style. A lot of emergency situations require a quick response, and having that deeper understanding, that immediate knowledge in the back of your brain that says, you know, I know this person, I know their health conditions, I know what they need, and I can respond. That is really what will change the outcome for a person when an emergency is, you know, when we're in an emergency.
So we're coming up on 3 years. That was June 29th of 21 was my accident. And yeah, so it's been a long road to hoe. Initially, when the accident had happened, the CAT scan technician had told me my foot was like a crushed bag of Doritos. And he said, your dancing days are over. At that point, I was seeing Dr. Gill, and he took great care of me. Of course, he had to send me to a specialist, but he sent me to the right specialist. And ultimately, that was for the replacement of my left shoulder, replacement of my left hip, multiple reconstructive surgeries of my right foot, and then my back. Yeah, I'm still recovering, but at this point, I'm actively working around my house, doing gardening, changing the grade of the gravel out in my front yard. I do pretty much everything except run.
If we are able to see somebody over time, build that relationship, trust that if I bring something to them, they're going to take it seriously and they're going to do something about it, we're more likely each time we go back to that person to be more honest and more true to ourselves and to truly share everything that we're feeling and seeing. And by being more honest and transparent with our healthcare provider, that gives us the better success at making that issue improve or heal or get better.
I don't see any reason not to go to Adelante. They all took their time and took the patience and just the personal approach to me. I always felt welcome and warm, and yeah, they just gave me the utmost care and what have you.